Welcome to FTB Saturdays for Saturday, the 16th of April, 2022. We're actually recording this at 12:21 p.m. I'm Jason C. McLean, joined, of course, by Don McSweeney. Hey, Don.
Hello.
And, of course, happy Easter, happy Passover, Ramadan Mubarak. And there's another one.
And happy Hanuman Jayanti.
Yes.
I love when all the holidays, everybody has a holiday this weekend. It's pretty fabulous.
Is Passover is actually today or is it yesterday?
Listen, it's tricky. We got a couple of feasts. So I think it's both. You have two different choices of Seder day.
Because with Easter, it was Good Friday, and then there's also Easter Monday or Easter Sunday, which is tomorrow. So today's kind of like the neutral day. Well, there's also Easter, essentially, some of the Easter traditions, like the Easter Bunny, are based on pagan rituals, right?
Yes. I would venture a guess to say that just about every Christian tradition is based on a pagan ritual.
Okay, that's I guess fair. That's very fair. I think my background's a little bit jumpy there, so I'm going to stop that. Okay, so now let's start I guess with the news. Let's first, I guess we'll stay with the sort of religion, Christianity to a certain extent. Pope Francis has reported that he is going to be coming to Canada. He's going to be making 3 stops. They haven't announced it officially yet, but the 3 stops are supposedly going to be that have been checked out already. It's a 4-day trip. Iqaluit, Quebec City, and Edmonton. And yes, he's going to speak with residential school survivors. And I guess if any pope could do it, he's probably the one.
Yeah, and I read today that, they were, especially with looking towards Iqaluit and stuff like that, they were saying, considering how many generations the Catholic Church has been established there, it's about time they go check it out and come meet and actually get on the ground instead of just I'm not going to say anything socially appropriate there. So the point is, it's due time. Glad it's happening. I hope it brings peace. I hope it heals a lot of broken hearts in as whatever it could offer in the way of comfort. It's about time, and it's high due.
Yeah. Well, the last time a pope came to Canada was John Paul II, and that was actually 14 days, but that was like big speeches, like in airfields and stuff like that. But this seems to be a little bit different, a little bit more subtle, though they are looking at hubs rather than going to every different community that he's been invited to, because apparently he's 85 years old and not in the best of health. And if you remember, he's the replacement pope not replacement, he's the pope because the other guy resigned because of health. So
I like this one better. As popes go in my hierarchy of popes, I like this one better than the last one. But I think he's handling this better than I was afraid he would. How about that? I can't give full marks on we've solved it. They also have a lot of artifacts that they should be giving back. It's a whole situation. It's an ongoing conversation, but I'm glad that they're having that conversation now instead of pretending that it doesn't need to happen. So that to me is a step in the right direction.
Is he being more open than maybe Trudeau?
He's in a different position than Trudeau. First of all, I mean, at the end of the day, the Vatican has protected countless criminals and has locked down the files. So in a way, as much as we could blame Trudeau for handling it not the best way a modern politician could, maybe, the end of the day, the Pope stands as the symbol for these generations of cover-ups.
Yeah. And I also find it's kind of interesting. He seems to be ignoring Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, which is usually the big
purpose of the trip.
You're right. Yeah. It's not for the crowds. It's for the.
You can't try to say you're here to do some sort of reconciliation, but then also sidebar photo op it. It would
showing up at Skydome on a Saturday.
It would be tacky, bro.
Yeah. Well, speaking about tacky, Elon Musk, we covered this story last week, but it's gone up now. He's actually he not only has he owns shares of Twitter, he's trying to take over Twitter, a potential hostile takeover he's willing to pay $43.4 billion. He wants to turn it private and make it the bastion of like free speech around the world. Of course, there's a fight back. They're using the poison pill approach to keep basically if any shareholder acquires more than 15% of the company in a deal not approved by the board, it would prevent them from doing that, and it would expire April 14th, 2023. Their takeover would expire then, something to that effect. So Elon Musk wants to completely take over Twitter. Twitter really isn't having it. I mean, the people who run Twitter, not the people on Twitter, they're all having their own fun. What's it like on Twitter?
I don't really understand, okay, this poison pill strategy and stuff. Like, it's all very interesting, but this is some inside business billionaire shenanigans that I'm like, it's out of my pay grade. I'm not sure what would be the bad thing about him doing it. I mean, on the good side, it's like everybody forgets, didn't he invent PayPal? Like, it's not like he screws up businesses, first of all.
Yeah, he doesn't actually write. He takes over someone else's idea and becomes the CEO usually, right? He didn't create the motor that drives Tesla.
But he made it happen.
True. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know because as much as I understand the worry about privatizing things, I also feel like when you have everything just a matter of shareholder and once you try to make everything most palatable for the most amount of people, you get McDonald's. Nobody's ever fucking given a Michelin star to something that was trying to appeal to the most number of people. And so to try to make the most people happy doesn't necessarily make the best product. I do believe that he really firmly believes for freedom of speech. And I also believe that the way public opinion sways, what we consider free speech today is like, it changes so quickly that trying to impress everybody, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what he would do different.
Yeah. Little sidebar. There was once a Belle Province restaurant, which is kind of like our local McDonald's, and the one on Peel and a few of them, they actually used to have breakfast service with like the 2 eggs and the waitresses and you get the proper meal delivered at your table, nice tablecloths. It was really nice. And the rest of the time it was a Belle Province. Back to Twitter though. You're on Twitter a lot.
Those are franchises.
Yeah, franchise. Exactly. I guess Twitter is
just
one thing. It's but now I'm on Twitter occasionally to promote things or to live tweet award shows, but you're there on a regular basis.
It's where I shout into the void.
What's the void saying about, like, what's the sort of general feeling of your sort of echo chamber on the void about this particular Musk thing?
My echo chamber isn't paying attention to it. My echo chamber is a little concerned about the housing crisis and very much concerned about cats.
Cats, yes. Okay, well, that's the housing crisis. So it's actually serious things, and I guess they because I mean they can still complain about the housing crisis even if Elon Musk runs things, right?
Yeah, so that's what I want. What would it change for the user, except for the fact that he wants to hang his hat on freedom of speech, which has been a consistent situation on Twitter, because you could get banned for certain things that you would be surprised about, and then you can get not banned for things that you think deserve to be banned. And so it's like, it's a moving target, and freedom of speech isn't on the radar.
Yeah, but the thing, there's some people that I think deserve, like Donald Trump was actually really posting dangerous stuff out there. Like, for example,
I agree with you.
And he got banned,
I think it's problematic when people are trying to rule via Twitter, like rule whole countries via Twitter. I don't really think that's what it was intended for. So as much as I'm for freedom of speech, I do believe that was an abuse of the platform. But people can get banned for far less than that, or you get in Twitter jail or whatever. And it's just like, who determines Twitter jail except enough people being like, hey, I don't like it.
Yeah. I guess getting more and more local here. There was it was approved, the $8 million loan to approve the development of Falaise Park, which is to give you guys an idea of where this is. If you know the like the Super C, where PJ's Pub used to be, Cabaret Amazon's on St-Jacques, that big parking lot area, behind that and down the hill, there's that hill that like nobody really goes on. They want to turn that hill into a proper park, effectively connecting the lower half of Western NDG with like Côte Saint Paul, Villemar, LaSalle, like even a bit of St. Henry. And I mean, I know people who live in that area, and it's like you got to take to get from there to NDG. You got to take a metro, like half a line all the way to the line El Gru, then back a couple of stops to. And then a bus. Like this is making it. And apparently, there's going to be some sort of a lift system, like a maybe not a tram. What do you call it? A gondola kind of thing that goes up it.
But I also love that a lot of it's going to be. I mean, this is all very useful and good, and I didn't hear about I didn't focus on that part when I was reading it because they're going to protect a bunch of the trees and they're going to make it actually a usable green space and also like a protected green space instead of just the kind of dangerous overcropping that it is that doesn't seem to be loved, protected, and certainly doesn't connect anything. So I mean, I'm always for more protected green space. I'm always glad for any land that doesn't end up in the hands of property developers. And it's about time that connects. I think it's in my head, it associates with the fact that they're talking about finally connecting Cavendish. So it's like, in a way, they're finally connecting some places that there was just no reason for them to be so far away when, as the crow flies, they've been 2 seconds away all this time.
Yeah, well, Cavendish, we're talking about Upper Cavendish, where like TMR is and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Or Hampstead,
but it's again, it's ridiculous because if you're trying to go like that end of it's just silly. There are some places in the city you have to go full around, and it's true. This spot, exactly what you're talking about off St-Jacques, is it could be made more beautiful and more useful at the same time, and I'm glad they're doing it.
Yeah, that's good. And I mean, yeah, actually our public transit in the city is actually generally known to be quite good. There's a pretty scary story from New York. I'm sure we have the details, but there was like a subway attack in Brooklyn earlier this week. And that's something that's I just want to say, I mean, I'm glad that from what I can tell, the people I know in Brooklyn were safe. No one was actually killed, but still, I've been on that subway. I ride the metro here almost every day. And it's it's scary when something like that happens, like attacking working class people on the subway.
Attacking any group of people, especially in the subway, we're all very vulnerable. We're all the commuters, we're all used to it. We take for granted the safety of hanging out in a tunnel with strangers all day. And when something like that goes wrong, it just reminds us how tenuous, I guess, civilization is in so many ways, because we're just counting on each other. And we're just counting on each other to all hang out and act right. And it's very, very scary. And they caught the guy in about 30 hours, maybe a little bit less. So there's a video of some guy who turned him into the tip line, and he was going all over the place giving an interview, and he actually said he's like, I just want to let people know I'm not on drugs, I'm fasting because of Ramadan, that's why I'm acting crazy. He's like, that's very sweet.
Also acting wild man Gilbert Gottfried passed away. FTB actually interviewed him a few years ago when he came for Just for Laughs. Our colleague Jerry Gabriel did. He was that's if you want to talk about unique comic, he's pretty much the definition of a unique type of a comedian.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking, and it's it feels like I say too often how many people we're losing in too quick succession here. And like they were saying, I was reading, it's like a generation of comedy. It just got wiped out so quickly with
Bob Saget,
Louis Anderson. So now we lost Gilbert Gottfried, and it's just it's crazy how we see these people as
Norm Macdonald.
Yeah. And we see these people as just pillars in our shared zeitgeist of what comedy is and what, and it's really tragic and it's crummy, and he was too young, and wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there was
there was a video of I think from not Gilbert, there was a video from last year or something, or early this year, of Gilbert Gottfried, of Bob Saget interviewing Norm Macdonald or something like that on some Zoom thing from last year. And it's wow.
No, and it's so crazy because this happened so suddenly that Gilbert was actually booked at Skankfest. And so it's now you see the promo, and the promo's running and he's still in it. And you're that's how fast everything happens. Everybody take a moment, take a breath, be grateful. Tell the people you appreciate them. Tell the people you find funny that you find them funny.
Okay, and I guess you on that note, let's go through all the holidays again. Let's you start.
We got Hanuman Jayanti, which is the appearance day of Hanuman, the monkey face god.
So happy Hanuman Jayanti. We got happy Passover, Ramadan Mubarak, good fasting, and happy Easter. And for those of you who completely don't celebrate any holidays, hey, it's Saturday.
It
You get a
is
day off.
Saturday.
We either got a day off Friday or on Monday.
For the pagans, we're coming up on Beltane. Like, it's a whole situation. It's a very, spring is charged with good vibes, potential, and love, man.
All the best to you and yours. Thank you, Don. You can check out Don McSweeney at McMoxie on Twitter and Instagram. Me at Jason C. McLean on Twitter and Instagram. She's a lot more active on Twitter, but hey,
Shout back at me in the void.
Yell back in the void. Yes. And you can also on Facebook, and share this video. Also follow Forget the Box on Facebook, follow Forget the Box on Twitter, on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to Forget the Box. And of course, you for daily or you can get our Android app. The iOS one's still coming soon. And for daily content, please check out forgetthebox.net. We'll catch you next week for another FTB, maybe Fridays, but probably FTB Saturdays. See you next week.